The nation's top Marine Corps commander recently told his people in Europe that, quote, there's a war coming and that a, quote, big-ass fight was on the horizon. Let's talk about America's military readiness tonight in case that happens. Joining us from Memphis is retired four-star General Jack Keane, Fox News senior strategic analyst, former vice chief of staff of the U.S. Army, and the chairman of the Institute for the Study of War. General, I might be better off just calling you sir. Good evening.
Good evening, Mike. Good to see you.
Thank you. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis recently told some of our men and women in uniform that storm clouds are gathering over the Korean Peninsula and, quote, my fine young soldiers, the only way our diplomats can speak with authority and be believed is if you are ready to go. What do you make of those comments, sir, from the SecDef?
Well, listen, the United States military, once President Trump put the military option back on the table in January of this year, our military has been earnestly preparing for war. I mean, that's the reality of it. We knew that option was serious by the President of the United States. So those words that we just are picking up now is nothing that hasn't been said for months to our troops, and particularly those troops who are in Korea and those who would come into Korea to assist in a war, whether they're ground forces or air or maritime forces. They've been talking this language for some time.
General, we used to see failures on the launch pad from the North Koreans. The sense you get is that they've made some significant strides. Is that your assessment as well, sir?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They were using Soviet-style old technology, and these things were misfiring about 50% of the time. And in a very short period of time, their rocket technology improved dramatically. I think they truly brought in some old former Soviet scientists. They probably had some technological assistance, possibly from China as well. I'm just speculating on that. But their program advanced dramatically under Kim Jong-un. And to remind our viewers, what he is trying to do is clearly acquire this capability as rapidly as he can before these economic sanctions truly stranglehold his country. He believes time is on his side because he believes he can get there sooner than that. Right. And he also believes that once he has acquired the technology, Mike, in other words, nuclearized ICBMs pointed at the United States, he wants to be treated just like Russia and China do in terms of deterrence. Once he acquires that technology, he believes the United States will acquiesce and accept it, much as they accepted nuclear bombs many years ago dealing with his grandfather and his father. That's his plan.
General, many national security officials have said there are no good military options when it comes to North Korea. But then you have Army Chief of Staff General Mark Milley saying, hey, if it's a missile heading for Los Angeles or New York, that would be a horrible option as well. So is the point being ready for the lesser of two evils?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think this is the clear-eyed, reality-looking President Trump administration. They see the world as it truly is, and you can see that in their national security strategy that they unfolded about a week or so ago. They see this North Korean threat as being totally unacceptable. And listen, if he acquires these miniaturized nuclear weapons, he's going to sell them. Would he sell them to a terrorist who gave him a lot of money? Of course he would. So this proliferation is going to go on. His kissing cousin is Iran. So it's not just about their missiles pointed at the United States. It's that the world become a much more dangerous place. So these military options are back on the table. The economic effort, led by the diplomatic effort, is clearly the United States' main effort. Mm-hmm. And we're doing everything we possibly can with China and the other allies to get these guys to shut down. And there seems to be some evidence, at least, that there's gas stations closed in North Korea now. Lines are building up for people trying to acquire gasoline. China is shut off all oil exports. They're not taking coal and iron and lead. So some of that appears to be working. But as I said at the outset, that takes longer, Mike, than I believe the technology road that Kim Jong-un is on.
And, General, briefly in our final moments, Congress just passed another temporary short-term funding deal. How difficult is that for folks at the Pentagon to be planning militarily?
Well, it's an absolute recipe for disaster. You can't run the Defense Department that way. You can't do multi-year contracts. You have no new starts whatsoever. Every year we lose billions of dollars as a result of it. And here's the thing that they've got to do. While the Congress has authorized, and President Trump has signed into law now, an authorization bill of $700 billion for defense.
Yes, sir.
That only authorizes the appropriators to decide how much of that they're going to actually appropriate. That hasn't been done because the budget caps will only let us appropriate $549 billion. Those budget caps have got to be removed, or there is no, I say again, if they're not removed, there is no Trump rebuilding of the military.
General Jack Keane tonight, thanks for your time, sir.